What you tolerate today might be what your child normalizes tomorrow. This isn't a catchphrase. It's perhaps one of the rawest and most uncomfortable truths of parenthood. Because it's not about the grand lessons we try to teach, the lectures we give, or the values we preach. It's about the silence, about what is left unsaid, about that veiled criticism from your partner that you swallow to avoid a fight, about that lack of respect from a family member that you ignore to keep the peace, about your own exhaustion, your own unhappiness that you endure day after day, believing you're doing it for the good of the family. And at the epicenter of all these tolerances is your child. With wide open eyes, with a heart that functions like a sponge, they are not just watching. They are learning. They are calibrating their internal compass for what is normal, what is acceptable, what love is. Let's think of children as architects of their own reality, but parents are the suppliers of all the building materials. If the material we provide is made of complicit silences, loose boundaries, and veiled disrespect, what kind of relational structures do you think they will build for themselves in the future? Let's take a practical and subtle example. The couple is in the car, the child in the back seat. One of them makes a mistake in traffic, and the other, instead of being supportive, makes a sarcastic joke. "Wow, congratulations, genius, can't drive anymore?" The comment is met with a tense silence. No one says "that hurt me" or "don't talk to me like that." The situation passes. The subject changes. What did the child in the back seat learn? They didn't learn about traffic rules. They learned that it's normal for people who love each other to subtly humiliate one another. They learned that sarcasm is an acceptable form of communication in love. And most importantly, they learned that when something hurts us, the normal response is silence. Years later, when this child, now an adult, is in a relationship and their partner treats them with the same kind of subtle disrespect, an internal alarm won't go off. On the contrary, they will feel a strange and dangerous sense of familiarity. They will tolerate it, because what they tolerate today was what they saw being tolerated yesterday. Let's go deeper. Think about the culture of complaint that exists in so many homes. The parent who comes home from work and spends the entire dinner complaining about their boss, their colleagues, the traffic, life. They complain but never act. They tolerate a situation of chronic unhappiness as if it were a sentence. The child, hearing this day after day, normalizes helplessness. They learn that adult life is a burden, a place of constant dissatisfaction, and that the role of a human being is merely to endure. They might become an adult who also lives in a state of permanent complaint, unable to take the reins of their own life to change what bothers them, because they never had a model of agency, of taking charge. They only had a model of passive tolerance. They normalized unhappiness as a state of being. And what about boundaries? What do you tolerate from others and from yourself? Are you the parent who never says no? Who tolerates grandparents interfering in your children's upbringing in a way that displeases you? Who tolerates a friend who only seeks you out when they need something? Who tolerates your own fatigue, never taking time for yourself, sacrificing every atom of energy for the sake of others? Your child is watching, and they are learning that to be a good person, you must abandon yourself. They are learning that their feelings and needs are not as important as the needs of others. They are normalizing self-annulment. And in the future, they may become an adult with immense difficulty in setting boundaries, a classic people pleaser who enters into abusive relationships not because they enjoy suffering, but because the dynamic of giving excessively and receiving nothing in return is the normal they learned at home. What you tolerate in yourself, your child may demand of themselves tomorrow with even greater cruelty. The most frightening point is that we do this unconsciously. We tolerate because we are tired. We tolerate to avoid conflict because confrontation drains us. We tolerate because deep down, these are the same things we saw our own parents tolerate, and that is our own definition of normal. Breaking this cycle requires a radical act of courage. self-observation. It requires that we start paying attention to the emotional temperature of our home. It requires us to ask ourselves, what am I allowing around me and within me that is silently teaching my child to settle for less than they deserve? The good news is that the change doesn't have to be an earthquake. It starts with small breaks in the pattern of silence. It starts when, after the sarcastic joke in the car, you take a deep breath and say calmly, "I didn't like that comment. It made me feel bad." In that moment, you are not just defending yourself. You are giving your child a masterclass on self-esteem, respectful communication, and the right to express what you feel. It starts when, instead of just complaining about work, you tell your child, "Daddy is unhappy with some things at work, and I'm thinking about how I can change that." You teach about action, about hope. It starts when you tell a family member, "I love you, but this decision about my child is between me and my partner, and I ask that you respect it." You teach about healthy boundaries. And perhaps most importantly, it starts when you model repair. When you fail, when you yourself are disrespectful, and then you have the humility to go to your child and your partner and say, "I was wrong. I was stressed and I crossed a line. I'm sorry." This teaches the most powerful lesson of all, that we are not perfect, but that we are responsible for the impact of our actions, and that love is also made of repair. What you tolerate sets the standard, but what you confront with love and courage sets a new and better standard. You are the architect of your child's normal. And that is the most terrifying responsibility and the most extraordinary privilege that exists. If this reflection resonated with you, please leave a like so this message can reach more families. Share it with those who need to hear it and comment below. What pattern do you commit to breaking from today onwards? Our courage to change is the greatest gift we can give our children.